Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so I'll be sharing my screen. Yeah, can you all see my screen, please? If you can see my screen, just indicate an emoji. Thank you, Samuel Matara. Okay, awesome, 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 awesome. Nice, thank you very much. So we continue from Git, as I said. So we've done the preliminary data or preliminary information that we need to do on Git. All the very important things have been taken care of. So as I said last week, everything we did last week that we spent so much time doing last week is one time. We're not doing it again. Like, you don't need to do it again. So what we're going to be doing today, which I believe this should mark the end of everything, the surface of Git, is that we'll be seeing how we can actually push our existing files to a GitHub repository, pull it off, make adjustments, push, and all that, and all that, and all that. It's actually a very straightforward process. That's the interesting thing about it. It's actually very straightforward and very direct. Very straightforward and very direct. It's not something to cram, it's something to just understand the terminologies. So I'll just pick up from this. I'll just try to go over this very quickly. Okay, so I said Git is a version control system that allows developers to track changes in their code. GitHub is a web-based hosting service for Git repositories. So we talked about how to install Git and create a GitHub account. To install Git, we talked about downloading it. And to create a GitHub account, we said go to github.com. So I want to believe that this process is not alien to anybody. It's something we've gone past. So the configuration, git config global user.name and git config global user.email. This shouldn't also be alien to anybody. We've actually done this configuration, and all these are one-time things. So the difference between Git and GitHub, as I said last week, Git and GitHub are not the same thing. Git is an open source version control tool in 2025, created in 2005 rather, by developers working on Linux operating system, while GitHub is a company founded in 2008 that makes tools which integrate with Git. So now, technically, to use Git, you don't really need GitHub to use Git, but you cannot use GitHub without using Git because we have GitLab, we have Bitbucket, and all of these other guys. So now let's now go to the main thing we are supposed to take care of today: creating a new repository, creating a new catalog. Creating a new catalog, creating a new repository, creating a new file. Creating a new file. Okay, so okay, so sorry, let me just share my screen. Okay, is my screen still in view, please? Is my screen still? Yes, thank you very much. So now to create a new GitHub repository, it's as simple as it sounds. So if you have your system here, you can join the practical. If you can't, just try to follow. So this is github.com. This is github.com. github.com. So when you go to github.com, this is you creating a new repository. So here you will find what we call new repository. Hope this my screen is this my page is in view. Good. So here we have new repository. New repository. So another way you can find it is you can come to this this your should I call it profile avatar, click on it, go to your repository. This is a longer route too. Go to your repositories, and then you can find click new here. This is another way you can actually achieve it, but for God's sake, we are working in a digital age, so it's just new here. So when you click on new, it gives you a way to select a new repository. Now here you type in the repository name. Repository name is like the folder you're about to open. So what you're doing in Git is more like you are creating a new folder. That is basically what you're doing. You're creating a new folder. So I can decide to name the folder, say GitHub tests class. Now, the description is very optional. So you could decide that you want to create a description for this repository. So I want to say this is this is a GitHub repository used to teach GitHub in TEFEM fellowship, TEFEM fellowship web development class, web development class. Now, as I said, this is not compulsory. This is not compulsory, but it's important. It's actually important. Now, next up we have public and private. Now, this is the kind of repository you are trying to create. Now, you can decide that it's a public repository or a private, depending on what you are trying to achieve. Now, for a lot of companies, or most likely very large projects, they would always tend to use the private. That's because that particular project is meant to be controlled. Everything about the project is meant to, every single thing about that project is meant to be controlled. In other words, people cannot just do things on the site because they feel like doing it on this particular folder. So you have to grant them some form of access, collaborator access, for them to be able to do anything. But for public, anyone can see this repository. It's just like saying you go to the hospital. Not everyone can just lay hands on your file. You have to be a doctor or have a particular authority for you to be able to have access to that repository, to that folder. But when you say public, it's just like dropping the folder on the table. Anybody can see it. But now, even though anybody can see it, you will still choose who can commit. Now, commit means who can make changes to that repository. That is basically what commit means. Who can make changes? Who can open that file? At this point, anybody can see the file, right? So as anybody can see the file, it should not be anybody that can just easily minute on that file or make changes to that file. So that is basically the difference between the public repository and the private repository. So whenever you just hear the word, just take yourself back to the word file, but just know that we're talking about repositories. Please, let's stay with the professional word repositories. Now, initialize this repository with an add a README file. Now, README files are basically a guidance for that particular project. So you could work on a project and you need a way to let whoever comes to that project understand any steps he needs to take. For example, if you're working on a Vue.js project or a React project, for example, a README file will carry instructions as to how that project would run, as to how that project would work. Now, if there are things you need to do for that project to actually work, that README file will actually carry those information. The README file is also, what's the word now? It's also optional. I don't like to initiate a README file. I don't like to because it brings a lot of unnecessary complications. So I'm going to avoid it for now. And later, we're going to be including README files so that we can actually familiarize with the complications it comes with, right? So add a git ignore template. So basically, git, this is it. For everything you do on your folder in your desktop, in your local machine, you can actually pick the whole file, pick the whole folder, and dump it in this Git repository that I've created called GitHub test class. Now, please note, for every project you work on, every single folder you have, you create a repository for it. Every folder you have, you create a repository for it. You want to work on, for example, you're working on Glow website, and the name of the project is Glow. You're creating a new repository for it. So everything you do is just like for every patient, there has to be a folder. So for every project, there has to be a separate repository for it. Okay, I want to believe we are following. Please, if you are not following, if you get confused at any point in time, please, 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 you can stop me at any point in time for questions if you do have any. Now, can I just okay, please can go ahead.
Sorry, sir, this place that you are currently at, sorry, because I missed the very beginning. It's create a new repository, right?
Yes.
Okay, I must create a new repository, but I cannot see. Only place they are showing me is the option for public, private, this initialize, and the rest. I'm not seeing the options here.
Why? When you say I'm not seeing the options, do you want to? Can you share your screen? Let me see what you're talking about. It's possible that it's just
Sorry,
hidden.
I also had the same problem, but I think if you click on new, there is a new button. If you click on it, you get what he's showing.
Okay, okay, they told me a repository creation failed.
Oh, okay. Did you
Is there
complete?
a
Did you complete the repository creation? Like, did you create it?
create it how?
Now, this page we are on. Let me go back. Let me go back. This page we are on. It's on this new. You click on new here, right?
Mine is not even arranged like that.
Yeah, that's probably because it's a first time user. So let me see what yours look like.
Okay, give me a minute. I thought I could show my face.
Okay, let me
This is what it looks
see.
like.
Hold on, let me see. Can't seem to be able to view it. There's create repository there, right? I've seen create repository. Just click on that's because you're a first time user.
Okay, here, create,
No,
right?
yes. Go back. Take it up, let me see. No, to the left hand side. Okay. To the left hand side, left.
Okay, left.
Let's look at create repository there. So click on that.
Okay.
That's because it's your first time.
Okay.
Yeah. That's because
thank you very much, sir.
yeah. So okay, so I guess we can continue, right? Every other person we can continue, right?
Excuse me.
Yeah, Chinelo, go ahead.
Just a quick question. You said that for every project that we have to create a new repository. So
Yes.
what if like we have one folder with like 3 different projects? Do we have to like separate the projects into like different folders and then create a repository for each of them, or can we just create one repository for that folder?
You know that, I hope you know that ideally when you have 3 projects in one folder, you are technically saying there are 3 folders inside one folder. You know, right?
Oh.
Do you understand what I just said?
Yeah.
When you have 3 folders inside one folder, what that technically means is that you have 3 folders inside one folder. Are you confused?
I still don't know if we should.
Okay.
So do we have to like just remove it from the parents folder?
No, that's the point. You are seeing it as you're trying to pass the parent folder. The parent folder is not the challenge. The challenge is there are individual folders inside the parent folder. So that is not your problem. Your problem is to deal with the individual folders one after the other.
Okay, so I'll just create a repository for each folder that is in that folder.
Exactly, just perfect. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess we can go ahead, right? Okay, so I named this GitHub test class, and I gave a description, which I said is optional. I've done it. I think even if I say it myself, I've done a good job of explaining what public and private repositories do. Even though I said it myself, even if I say it myself, I've also explained what a README file does. So this a brief explanation. This way you can write a long description for your project. So you have some information you want to pass about the project, which doesn't affect the project itself. It doesn't necessarily affect the project itself, but it's a description about the project. Then you add a readme file. Now, git ignore basically is that you can choose some files that you don't want to track the changes in those files. You don't want to track changes in those files. So this is what GitHub basically does. You create a folder like a repository. When you make a change, you track those changes and update the repository online. That is the summary of whatever we're going to be doing here when it comes to GitHub and repositories. So you have a file, you have a change, you have something that's happened to the system, or you changed a color from red to purple. All you can necessarily do is you track that change. Okay, and this color has changed, and then it's updated live, so that whatever happens to your local machine does not affect whatever you've done. That's why it's easy for a lot of tech people to change machines at random to an extent, because they have these files in a remote server that is far from whatever it is that you want to call it, theft and all that. So choose a license. A license tells others what they can and can't do with your code. So license basically, like we know copyright licensing and all that. So you can tell the users, anybody that comes to your code, and say, see, you have this access, you have this access, you have this access, you have this access. You can do this, you can't do this, you can do this, you can't do this. So that is basically it for every item here. So the only most important items here are the owner and the repository name. Those are the only compulsory items here. Every other item here is optional. Basically, you know that for public and private, you must choose one. You don't have a choice. Naturally, you must choose one. So go ahead to create the repository. Doesn't take time, and it's created. Now, one of the interesting things about GitHub is that it, for some reason, gives you this, which is like the procedure to follow, which is technically the procedure to follow in your file to now push anything to this GitHub test class. Can we follow to this point? Do we follow to this point? Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, good. Okay, Masama, please go ahead.
Okay, good evening, sir. So please, I'm not following. Can I use the GitHub software, or I have to access it through the website also? Because I don't really understand what you're doing.
Did you join us from the beginning?
Previous classes.
Did you join us from the sorry?
Are you talking of the previous classes we had on
Talking
GitHub?
about today's class. Talking about today's class.
No, I joined quite late though.
What you need to do is go to github.com, create a repository, and you'll come to this point. You're not using the GitHub application yet.
Okay, so I should go to github.com
Yes, please.
and
And
create
create a
a
repository.
repository. Okay,
Yes.
thank you, sir.
So when this is done, so what we have done now is that we have created more like a remote holder for whatever we're going to be doing. So now what we need to do is to actually push whatever exists on our local machine, push whatever we have on our local machine to the remote server. Now, I will have to open a project I want to push. So let me look for a project I want to push. Let me push one of our task. CSS. Okay. Okay, so Okay, so you can see my screen, right? Can you see my screen? I hope I'm not muted. Oh, okay, thank you, English. So now, just see hand up. Yes, Emma, go ahead. Yes, Emma, please go ahead. Is that a mistake? I think it was.
Yes, it was a mistake. Thank you.
Okay, so we have these files. Yeah, we have these files. Now, what I could do is, I could push directly from my terminal. So just go to on your VS Code now. You click on this triple dot. I don't know what they call it, but there's a triple dot here, which is like an indication of more items. So when you click on it, you see terminal, new terminal. When you click on new terminal, it gives you this terminal downstairs here. So what you do next is that you come to this block. Here we have plus here. Click on the arrow beside it. Let me just zoom. So this guy comes out big enough to see. Okay, good, it does. So here you have this arrow just beside the plus, and you have git bash, command prompt, JavaScript debug terminal, PowerShell, split terminal. What most likely you would see in yours would be PowerShell and git bash. Can you confirm that that's what you can see? PowerShell, probably command prompt and git bash. There's a reason I have JavaScript debug terminal and split terminal on mine. There's a reason why I have that. Can we please confirm that for those testing, can you confirm that you can see git bash and PowerShell or command prompt? Can you confirm that?
Yes, please.
Can you have that right? Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much. Thank you. So switch it to git bash. Switch it to git bash. Select git bash as the default. Switch it to git bash. And when you do that, next up we now come here. Now, as I said, I like this guy so much because it just gives you everything you need. They give you everything you need. You don't need to start thinking too much. So I'm going to first teach you the easy way out without even going to my notes. Start going to my presentation notes, which is the easy way out. I use this to explain. So you copy the first one, echo GitHub test class into readme.md. So I'm going to paste that and tell you what this does before I press enter. So echo basically from my own personal check is actually a PHP theme. So I don't know why they introduced PHP to these guys to GitHub, but this was happening here. I am adding a line, this particular line, GitHub test class, to a file called readme.md. That is all what this thing is doing here. That is all what it's doing. Echo hash readme GitHub test class to readme.md. That is all it's just doing. It's just adding this line of code, this line, to this file. Interestingly, if this file does not exist, it creates it. So let's see if that works. Good. So we have readme.md and we have this GitHub text class inside readme.md. If I want to add something else there, I can just echo another line of content. A line of content. Let's see if this actually works I expect. So we see another line of content has added. Do you understand that point? I believe we do. Now, the next step is
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry for interrupting you. I don't really get it. That page that created that README page, what is it about? Is it like a HTML file? I don't understand what it is.
So earlier I mentioned that a README file tells information about the project you're working on. So what is going to be here is going to be like an explanation, a a short note, more like a user manual for this particular project you are working on.
So how will it be viewed? Like, how do they get to view it? Are they seeing it in the HTML file? Are they seeing it in the GitHub? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, they are seeing it on GitHub. It's for GitHub. It's not for the user. It's for GitHub. But subsequently, this README file transcends beyond just use on GitHub. But that's something. So don't think about it. Just know that it's basically for GitHub. So when we push it, what will happen is anybody that has access to this GitHub repository comes in and he sees the file and now knows what to do with respect to the guidance you have outlined here. Now, this will not actually show in your actual hosting of the site. It will not show when you host the site. It will only display on GitHub. Did you get it now? Are you still confused,
Yes.
Priska?
I do get it.
Okay, so the next command there. Okay, so the next command there is git init. Git init. So git init basically signifies initializing this your local machine to Git. Initializing your local machine to Git. So just git init. So it has initialized an empty repository, has created a snapshot of some sort. Okay, so next up is git add readme.md. Now I'm going to do something different from what they did here. Now, when you say git add readme.md, this is what you have said. Add this file. This readme.md is a file, right? This is the file here. Now, which means in other words, I can say git add index.html. I can say git add images. So this is me specifying the files I want to add. But in a situation whereby I want to create a snapshot of all these images before I can now commit them. Now, if I want to just do everything here, all I just do is git add dot. Git add dot. What git add dot does at that point is that it creates a snapshot of every item that is in this project folder, every single one. That is what it does. But if I say git add readme.md, it creates a sharp snapshot of only the readme file. But I don't want it to create only the readme file, I want it to create everything. So git add dot. Okay, good. So we have created a snapshot of this folder, preparatory to push to Git. Now nothing has added here. So the next thing is now git commit. So we have git commit. Now, notice this structure is also one time for the first time. So this is what I mean. It's just like saying when you move into a house for the first time, there are things you need to do for the first time. After the first time, there are things you don't need to do anymore. So the first line, this echo, because it's the first time, git initialization, these first two processes, you do it one time per folder. Once you've done it for a folder, you don't need to do it for that folder again, except you are changing the repository. But if you're not changing the repository, you don't need to do it again. It's one time, and that is it. So, but for git add, git commit, these are repeated. These are like constant steps you will take as long as you make a change to that folder. So git commit -m. Now, this is one of the most tricky parts of GitHub, something we call a commit message. Now, that's one of the most tricky parts of GitHub, a commit message. Now, a commit message is supposed to be as short as possible, but despite the fact that it should be short, it should still be able to carry the message of the change you are tracking. So if, for example, you changed button color from red to purple, your commit message should then be changed nav button. Change nav button from red to purple. Sorry, red to purple. That is a commit message. Now, what this tells you is this. This is what this is telling you. This is what it tells me, and this is what it's telling every one of us right now. That when you are working on GitHub, or you're already working on any project, you don't wait until you finish one major feature, finish one very large chunk of work before you push. No, you push it in little, what's the word now? Should I say little bits, little chunks? They cut them into chunks. So, for example, you are trying to do a full website. Don't wait till you finish everything before you now say yes, git add, da da da. You are now when your commit message is going to be ambiguous, because you'll be thinking, how do I explain everything I have done? And it's always advisable that your commit message is a one-liner. It's advisable that your commit message should be a one-liner as much as possible. But if you can't make it a one-liner, let it not be unnecessarily long. So what that, I'll repeat, what that means is, as you work, you finished enough. If in fact you finished, you added logo. It's not a bad thing to say added nav logo. You can do that. You completed your nav creation. You can say completed nav creation. Now it depends on what you do. So commit message should basically be, what did you do? That is commit message, basically. What did you do? That is a commit message. So in this case, I'm just going to call it my first commit, because I've actually committed by not even committing from the beginning. So my first commit, git commit -m, my first commit. Now this is one of those guys that creates system for you. So let's see what this looks like. So now this is observe something. It has done something. First off, five files changed. Remember I mentioned something from the beginning about tracking changes. I don't know if you remember when I made that, about tracking changes. So what it has done now, it has told you that there are 5 files that were changed, and there were 84 insertions, which means there were 84 changes in the whole project. So we created a README file, created this file, created this file, created this and this. So for the first, now this next step, I'm going to skip this step for some very important reasons, and then come up to this one. I'm going to explain why I'm skipping that step for now. I want to avoid any form of complication, so that after this class, you can actually submit your assignment. Because when we are done like this, now what I'm doing, once we get to this last one, it means that you can actually submit your assignment. So next thing is git remote add origin. This. So let me explain this very quickly. Git remote add origin is as let me use an analogy to explain that very quickly. I have this is my local machine. This is my local machine. I want to connect. Yeah, that's the word. I want to connect this local file to my remote file. So this particular github.com/dynasty/GitHub test class is my remote repository. Is my remote location for this particular file I want to push. So I need to make sure that I add that origin master. Now, why am I having master? If you observed in this one here, can we hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So if you observe, what you have here is git push -u origin main, right? That is here. But I am using master. That's because main is a branch which I did not create, which means that now makes sure that I'm now still working on the master branch. So this git push origin master, this is what it means. I am pushing git push. I'm trying to send these files, and I'm setting an upstream, and the upstream should be in the master. Great, push -u origin master, and then enter. expect that it should push. Sometimes it could take some time depending on the kind of files we are pushing. So now I have this project folder, right? So let me come down here to see if actually something has happened. If I refresh this, I should have this. So you see that the folder I have on my system here, on my local machine here, CSS, images, file, readme, is what I now have here. In other words, if I want anybody else to have access to this project, all I need to do is come to this code here, this place we have code, copy this link, copy this link, and send to whoever it is. So let me just send it here because we're going to do a quick practical with last command here. So now this is the link. This is the link. Now, as I've sent you this link right now, and if I need you to make changes to it, if I need you to make changes, I need you to collaborate with me on this particular file that is basically a public repository. This is not a private repository. Don't forget, it's a public repository. It's a public repository. So what I do is I can say git clone, then I put in the name of that reposition that was sent to me. Now, if you do this, what it would do is that it would copy the remote what's the word? Did you hear what I said? For those that are following, please try this command. Let's see. And let's be sure. Let's certain that you're following to this point. So if you have it, just indicate git clone. I've sent the link to this conversation. So if you've done it, just indicate.
So are you saying we should open this site you just gave to you just sent to us?
So I'm saying that this is me, I've done my own. I've worked on my own site. I've worked on my own GitHub and I have pushed it. So this is like my own folder I've created. Now I'm trying to make us understand the importance of using GitHub. So I want someone else, probably one of you, to now work with me on this particular project I'm working on. Now, instead of having to start copying code and sending via Bluetooth or sending via through zip or email and all that, all I need to do is copy this link and send to the person, which I just did. Send like that, send this link. And then if somebody else wants to access what I have done, the person can use a command called git clone. Can use a command called git clone. It's a command called git clone. And then that particular link that I give to the person. So I'm saying that if there's anybody practicing right, and then you can draw it on your git bash, and then let's see and you tell us what the response is quickly. Do you understand now? Are you there?
I can see a file here, my first commit. Readme and the rest. This is yours, your file, right? This is yours.
Yes, it's mine. It is mine. So I'm giving you guys access to it. I say, okay, pull this file and see what I have done on my own end.
Okay, I get it. Thank you.
So has anybody done that?
Yes, I just tried it.
Okay, so can you let us in on what happened? What did you see? What
It's
did you
saying
find? What did you get?
some key bindings don't go to the terminal by default.
Somewhat?
some key bindings don't go to the terminal by default and are handled by Visual Code instead. So it's telling me to configure my terminal or something.
Okay, let's share your screen. I need us to get to that point. Share your screen, please. Share your screen.
Okay.
Please share your screen. So would you use your system to now configure for those that might be using Git for the first time on this system? I wish somebody would actually push the assignment live. Is there anybody that has the assignment done and want to push live from the beginning, so we can do it together here on this call, on this class rather? Anybody that's using Meet on their system? Okay, Mesoma, please, is there a question or you want to share your screen? Mesoma, is it a question or you want to share your screen?
I'm done with the assignments and I would like to share my screen. But the problem now is that I tried going to their website, github.com, but it's telling me page not found. I don't know the problem.
github.com, page not found. I guess you might most likely be using the wrong site. So
Sorry, can you see my...
No, your screen is not shared.
Okay, I'm trying to figure it out. I don't think. I see it now. Can you see my screen now?
You're not doing the right thing. That's why it's showing that way. Git.
Okay. It's so what am I supposed to press? Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Sorry, can anyone hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. Mr. Manuel.
I think he has network issue at his end.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Phone call
Okay.
came in. So git clone. No, you can't clone my file here now. It's like
Okay.
you cannot clone my file into your own file. You are cloning my file into the system, into your laptop, not into your own file.
Okay. So where am I supposed to go right now?
I will explain it to you again. You don't clone my file into your own project folder. You clone it into your desktop, into your system, anywhere on your system, not into my own folder. You still don't understand? So, okay, see what's up. Forget about that. Forget about that. Okay. It's going to confuse you a little. So, who is willing to share them to push the assignment? Let's use that for today. Probably tomorrow we can now talk about when someone else gives you the access to their own file. That's now collaboration. So let's just focus on pushing assignment today. Ajayi, someone was talking about what was that? Florence, please go ahead, share your screen then.
Okay, I will share my screen in a minute, but I'm trying to push to the repository, but I tried the git init at my end, and it's saying initialize empty git repository.
I didn't get that.
I was trying to go on with the pushing to the repository process. Then I did the git init. Then it popped out initialize empty git repository in user HP desktop, blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's what should happen. If you followed our structure, you discover that that's what it looks like. Can you share? I need somebody to share the screen so we can actually be looking at visual as we're having these conversations.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Just want to share screen. Florence, I'm waiting for you or someone else to share. Okay, Manuela, that's noted.
If someone else wants to share, they can go ahead. I'm also trying to share at my end, but my system is messing up.
Okay, please, who else can share? Who else can share, please? Nobody? Okay, Samuel, please go ahead. Samuel, I think I saw a hand up. Please go ahead. So nobody has done the assignment. Is that what you are saying?
Please, how do I share my
I've done
screen?
the assignment, but I'm joining with my phone. That's the reason I said it might take a while to join with my system.
Someone shared a screen before. Modupe, we don't share the screen before, right? Hello, Modupe. Martha, we can't do with that. We can't.
Yes, I did.
I think you might have to share a screen again. I've done my assignment, but it's a favor. It's okay. Okay, share. So share a screen. Go to your project, any project, whether your assignment or whatever, whichever I want to share. I want to post to GitHub. Let's just use
Besides,
screen
mine
now.
is showing.
So
Uh, I was asking if mine was showing. Hello?
Yes, Emanuela, your
sorry.
screen is showing already.
Oh, okay. Let's hope it doesn't go off before I'm able to send it. 9%. Okay. Okay, so what am I supposed to type?
Hold on, let your screen come
Go
up.
to
It's not up
your
on my end
GitHub.
yet.
Sir?
Your screen is not up on my end yet. Please. Okay, it's up now. So go to your GitHub first. Go to github.com first. Let's start from there.
Okay.
github.com. Have you created a new repository? I see that you have pushed something to GitHub already before.
Yeah.
Okay, no, this is my file. Okay. So go back to your GitHub. Go to your GitHub and log in.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. So I think I'm signed in now.
Please close this guy. Please close this particular GitHub I'm seeing. So close it. That's not our business for today. Close it. Like close the tab.
Oh, okay.
No, not that one. Yes. No, close this tab. This tab. Close this tab on Chrome. Tab. No, this particular one you are on at the moment. I'm seeing you on right now.
I should close it here.
Yes, close it. We're going to come to that tomorrow. So close it. Good. So log in here. Why didn't you log in here? Where did you log in?
It was from there. I saw sign in, so I tried using that. My battery has magically increased. This is nice. Okay.
Good. So good. So let's create a new repository for you.
Okay.
Don't use that. Don't use that. Don't use that.
Okay.
I don't know why this other guy, this left hand side is taking so long to load up.
It's because I've done a bunch of things.
Okay, you've actually pushed some stuff then. I want someone that
But I feel like this one is a bit different. I don't know.
when you say a bit different in one sense.
I didn't use Git bash while I was doing it.
So which
I don't know
miracle did you perform?
You said?
So what miracle did you perform?
Okay, basically what I did was use VS Code, did git add, git commit, and what else?
I'm not sure you've been following this class because that's what we done. That's what we did. That's what we did. That means either you have not been following us or that's what we did. We used VS Code.
No, I've missed 2 classes now and I've not been able to watch because of battery issues. I literally use my system for every single class, and if there's no light in my area, that means there's no way I can come on class.
So what I'm saying is this the pattern you're saying you used on your VS Code, you typed git add, git commit is exactly the exact thing we did today. Do you understand?
But when I came online, what I was seeing was git test something before commit came in, before the dot came in, before commit came in, because that was where I met the class.
Okay, I think I understand I understand you're confused. I understand why you're confused. I needed someone that has not done any of these processes before because there's always going to be some installation, but it's fine. Let's go. No, don't stop. Let's just submit your assignment. So go to create a new repository. Create a new repository for those that would follow. Create a new repository. The up one, any of the both can work, but use the up one. The up one. Use the up one. Yeah. So you can create the repository name. Give it a name. A name that resonates with what you've done, the project itself. I hope you understand what I mean by that. School. You can't have a space, please. Okay. It's available. Good. So keep going. Scroll down to public. Okay, good. Good. And go down, keep going down. Okay, just create. Hope we are following what she's doing. I want someone else to do it so that you can all see it again. Creating repository. Okay, perfect. So what we're going to do next now is that we're going to be copying this one after the other. So start from the first one. Echo, that line of echo. That line of echo. I can't see your monitor. The line of echo. Yes, copy that first line. Copy it now to your VS Code.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the first thing you should do. Enter, paste it. Okay, enter. So go back to your GitHub and do the next thing. Git initialization, git init. Okay, just keep going, I'm watching. If you
Yeah.
type any command that decides to fail, we are here together.
Oh, okay.
Git add. So I don't know if were you there when I explained before you press enter, just tap the git add. Before you press enter, hold on. Were you there when I explained what's supposed to happen here?
What's supposed to add to happen where readme the readme file?
Yes, git add. Yes, git add. Were you there when I explained what's supposed to happen?
The network broke at my end, but I was around when you were about to explain something about git add. Because I
Okay.
remember someone was asking what the readme file was.
Okay. So beyond that, I explained that something's supposed to happen on that line. Does anybody remember? Anybody can remind us what I said is supposed to happen on that line? Yeah, Florence.
Yes, yeah. Okay, sorry.
You said if we should use the git add with me, it only adds git add with me. But if we should use the git add space dot, it will add whatever file we have on the folder.
Good. So Emanuela, do you hear that?
I didn't quite get that.
Please repeat that again for her.
You said if we should use git
Florence.
add readme dot ld. Yeah, I'm with you. You said if we should use git add readme dot ld, it only add the readme file. But if we should use git add space dot, it will add whatever file we have on the file folder.
Did you get that now? Manuela, did you get that? Hello, Manuela. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
So I think did we lose her audio? Hello, Manuela, are you there? Hello, Manuela, are you there? I think we lost her audio. I think we lost her audio. Okay, so while we wait for her to rejoin, is anyone that actually got confused at any point in the process? Because the process is actually quite straightforward, and most of these things are one-time things. Now, let me quickly add something. Let me share my screen and add something and show us something very important quickly. Let me show us something very. And while we wait for her to, so I'll share my screen again. We'll do this. Okay, so so in a case where I have done the first procedure, can we see my screen? That is up. Good. So in a case where we've done with the first procedure, yes, and then now there is a necessity to make changes because as you're working, it's possible that you decide to. You remember we said you're tracking changes. So I have completed the first procedure and I just made a change. For example, I have decided that I want to add a H6 here. This is another heading. So there's a change. There's a change. Obviously, there's a change, and this change has been tracked here, right? So now the process, you don't have to go over the whole git init thing anymore. So what you just do is git add dot, which snapshots all the items. Git commit dash commit message added a H6. So it shows me that there's one file has been changed, and in that one file, I just did one insertion, which is one line of code. So I now say git push. Now I don't need the origin master again, because as I said, it's a one-time thing also. It's push. So that works. So if I go back to my if I switch over to my GitHub repository, let's share the entire screen. Right. If I switch over to my GitHub repository and I refresh, I would definitely see that I just made a change, added a H6 just now. So it's basically tracking my changes. Now this is everything you need to know, practically everything you need to know about working alone with regards to Git. Any questions? I don't want to go beyond here. So any questions?